Bob, you're going to start tight on Maeve and zoom back to a 2.
3G, guys.
As I move back, 2 gets a
Stand by. Action.
One eventually you'll
Zoom
be
back.
getting a shoulder.
Can you hear me?
I don't know, I'm not sure yet.
It's a craft what we do, you know, it's basically a craft. We always joke it's like digging ditches or whatever. You're building a building, you know, you're building this show. And that's what we do, brick by brick, sentence by sentence, speech by speech, and trying to make it come alive.
And now on the legs, Greg. Yeah, actually go through this, John. Let's, you know, this.
Okay.
Yeah, actually just do it. Yeah, let's just try it.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you. Come on out.
Just tell them we're long on time. We're starting on line 25 of this page of 21. Start the scene with, so you're telling me no one comes
Bobby
here.
the Titan, stand by.
All right, very quiet, please.
Yeah, head to toe, thanks. Stand by.
Stand by.
Action.
Action.
I found this. Eb uses it for chopping wood. I just don't know if it's gonna go through the chains. Try it, try it.
Okay, I'll try it.
Come on.
Ready?
One. And cue him in.
You'll be next, number 2 shot. Ready 3. Ready
2. And back to
and
3.
squeeze on 3 a little bit.
And we're out.
Cool.
Is that what they told you?
They told me that you were irresponsible and rebellious, and that's why you ran away. You are my favorite person, Jan.
My first day directing was on Edge of Night. It was in the summer of 1981. It was in August. I remember that. And I was fortunate enough, I'd acted on the show, so all the actors I was very friendly with, and they were all rooting for me. But I remember the first time sitting in that control room and watching these cameras move all around in the monitors. And at that time, it was the closest feeling to death I've ever felt in my life. Just, nothing, it was in control. Everything was moving. And fortunately, I had a mentor, John Sedgwick, who's the father of Carol Sedgwick, who's one of our ADs on As the World Turns. And he just tapped me on the shoulder and goes, "You've got to tell them what to do." Oh, got it now.
Hey, Benny. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris, what's doing that?
Before I go into production meeting, I've made some notes on the script, I've made notes on the prop sheet, and I basically have questions more than anything else. Set decorators will tell me where I might find certain things on the set. I might have to find out where the director before me has established characters in a scene, and then I might have to adjust the set. So this is where all the questions are raised. So that when you go in and actually dive in and work on your shots, those preliminary questions have been answered.
So they're nowhere near each other?
Then I have it later on where I assume that she would be like in here with him.
Right now I have Eb here.
I understand what you have, but
Yeah.
later on, what show number is that?
This is 607.
So he's got to get to her and knock her over. So that's not a good position. You know what I'm saying? This is 609, page 1. Like a doctor's bag for a black bag? What do you think?
Yeah.
Page 6. I do need a stunt coordinator. Are we going to get sort of a double of the acts? 10, one extra in the police station. 11. And 12, I don't need a medical advisor. Schedule is as follows. 1:30 lunch, back at 2:30, 3:15 move to Studio 1, and at 5:30 out. Thank you.
My rule of thumb is you do 10 pages an hour. And some 10 pages may be an hour and 15, some 10 pages may be 45. But my rule of thumb in terms of scheduling a day is 10 pages for every hour of studio time. Good directors, bad directors, you know, every director I think gives his or her best effort. And I think it's all in the preparation, and I think the more thorough the preparation, the better off you are, always. And I'm very meticulous. My late father was a painter. That's one of his paintings back there of me. My mother went to Carnegie Mellon University. She's an actress. She was an actress. Both taught. My mother taught a private school for 45 years. And I grew up doing community theater. and it was sort of something that I sort of was okay at and wanted to do, but because your parents are doing it, you're sort of reluctant to go into what your parents do because of bad and good influences. So I sort of stood away from it and went to college as an English lit major, and then found out that I really didn't know how to do anything but theater. So I went to Carnegie Mellon and studied directing. I got a Master's of Fine Arts in Directing from Carnegie Mellon. This is where the magic happens, and I've already done one pass through this in which I've made little markings where I feel the camera cuts are going to be. I sort of have imagined what cameras I'm going to use and put that on my front cover. But now's the time when I actually start making my shots. And what I'm doing is I'm making shot by shot what you will see. I'm putting down in pencil. Our script is divided, so I put my shots down on the second half of the page. And it will basically communicate what I want this show to look like. We use pedestal cameras, and a camera can do 5 things. A camera can pan, a camera can tilt. Because we have pedestal cameras, a camera can ped up and ped down. A camera can truck, in other words, slide left or slide right, and a camera can zoom. At the same time, I'll be sizing my shots. You have a full shot, which is a shot head to toe, a medium shot, which is basically the hips to the top of the head, a waist shot, which is self-explanatory, the waist to the top of the head, a bust or a chest, again, self-explanatory, a shoulder, I call a shoulder, which is similar to an MCU, a medium close-up, which is about shoulder to the top of the head, a head shot, which is a close-up, which is basically chin to the top of the head, and then you also have an ECU, which is that size. So all these things I'll have to be communicating on this page as I'm trying to mark up this script. What I have in the first scene is Lily's Family Room, the opening scene of the show, which I think is very key to any show. And when I first looked at this scene, it was 5 pages long. For an opening scene for a show, it is simply too long. They're great characters, Lily and Lucinda, but you want to just shorten it. So what I did immediately was I cut about a page out of it, maybe a page and a half, to make it a little bit shorter. So I like going in about 4 minutes long. Our other producers like to go in 2 minutes long, but I like 4 minutes because I really think that once you put it all together and look at the whole thing, you can really pull some stuff out that's extraneous or doesn't quite work. But if we're going to 8 minutes long, then it becomes problematic, and you may lose some stuff that you really wanted to keep, but that's the nature of the beast. And Lily's Family Room also exists on this, which is our floor plan. And what I mark on this floor plan is a plot, a light plot, to the lighting designer. What I use is I use different colored pens to mark up each scene. That way, the lighting director will know the movement for each scene. The other utensils that I have are, of course, the pencil, and I always start a new show with a fresh pencil. I use Ticonderoga 2.5. Every director has their favorite kind of pencil. I use 2.5 because it's a halfway point between a 3, which is a very hard pencil, and which is too hard sometimes for the Xerox machine, and a number 2 pencil, which is too soft for me. It becomes smeary, and so I use a 2.5. And of course, a very key to most directors is the eraser. You must have a good eraser. Everyone has their favorite eraser, and this is mine, which you can get at Staples or anything like that. So anyway, here we go. The first scene, get a good pencil sharpener, one that doesn't take as much time as this. It's Prologue A, Lily's Family Room, Upset Lily fills Lucinda in the big print. So where do we start? It starts in progress. I'm assuming that Lucinda's already entered the room, and so she's moving into the room and Lily's following her. So I cue Lily, who's the first speaker, and I dissolve into a 2-shot. Make this a bust Lucinda. And then she will turn on but. I mean, but, it's a very interesting thing about conjunctions. You cut on buts, you turn on buts. Conjunctions are good words to sort of keep an eye on as a director. So I'm here, I'm not an expert on ransom demands, and neither are you. And neither are you seems to me a dismissive sort of, just get out of my face. And that to me precipitates a move on her part, a move from Lucinda. She wants Lucinda out of her face. So she's going to move away from the desk. She's also knows that Jack and Luke are out there, and if she moves to the desk, we have a window by the desk. And that, it's just, is she going to get news? So that to me would motivate a move. So I'll go 2-shot on move. It'll tell me when to cut. And I'll say hold the 2-shot on move, which I can communicate to the camera people. Design has been integral to the way I look at things. Again, it's part of my background. I look at, in terms of my background as a director, learning stagecraft at Carnegie, in terms of making pictures. It's always been part of what's the aesthetic. I mean, I hate to be sort of, I don't mean to be pompous about it, but what is the aesthetic? I mean, there's some shots that look good to me, there's some that don't. There's some rules that I think need to apply, which other people disagree with me, but that's my aesthetic. I can't give you logic, I can't give you proof, I can only tell you this is the last speech of the scene, and I'll just stay on her. Again, many directors will zoom here. I'm not a great fan of using the zoom unless it's connected to movement, but this is basically the scene. It's setting up what they're doing, what they're waiting for, the tension between the two women. Lily's hopeful, Lucinda says, don't get your hopes up, and that's the first scene.
I'm not worried about that. I know I don't have logic. I know I don't have proof, but suddenly I'm not afraid anymore because I truly believe that when Jack and Luke come home, they're going to have Holden with them.
So it's always starting with a blank piece of paper and making words on a page, imagining them through the voices of the actors and seeing if your vision, you can transfer your vision onto and communicate it to the actors and your technicians, and make it come to the screen in a terrific fashion, in a compelling way. I'll usually get up on a directing day anywhere between 4 and 5 a.m. The first thing that I do is walk the floor. I read the script, reread the script in the car and I write in, and I walk the floor to, as I've thought about it in the car ride again, to see how it matches up again to the physical thing with each set, to make sure that each set's correct. It's just my walking the floor with no one there is, to me, an important time, and to envision what's going to happen during that day. We don't have an overall movement that movies do. It's a finite time. Our time is infinite, as it were. And yet we have to design the time, although we think it's real. It's also very much designed in our act structure where commercials come in. So we're telling what feels real, but of course is designed as anything, is designed as reality television.
Good morning, everyone. It is now time to begin AM Drive. We are starting in Metro. We need Audrey, Henry, and Barbara. Please make your way out to rehearsal.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
How you guys doing? Good. How are you? Good. Fly through this so you guys can go
Yes,
upstairs and get ready.
get ready.
I know. You can start with the bar here.
Okay.
Okay. Trent, you're going to come in from here.
Dry rehearsal to me is just simply an opportunity for the actors and me to just say hi, and just make sure that they're on the right track with the scenes, for them to just sort of get an idea of what their movement is. It's a more relaxed time. It's the only time I have during the day where we're not on the clock. We both see each other without our makeup on, without our war paint on. Do you know what I'm saying? So, because once we're on the floor, I got my war paint on, as do they.
Let's talk about this for a second. Hey, Liz.
Hello.
How you doing? Thank you. I think you're looking for evidence that this was going on a long time, this affair.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're looking to pin something on Damien. So I think when you come here, you haven't decided to give it to Lucinda until she says, it wasn't fair to you or Lily. And Lily's a thing, you know what I'm saying? So you find out that Holden wasn't alive, so now I'm going to do this. And that's your decision there.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
All right.
All right. It's a little wonky to me, but let's see if we can make it work.
Okay.
Every character has a journey. It may be small, it may be large, but you've got to figure out each character's journey. Each character in a soap opera has to tell his or her story in a script. Even if you've got the smallest part or just one scene, you have to tell the story, and each character has a function in that day, and you've got to figure that out. And once you figure out that each individual story, first of all, you've got the entire story of the day, and we have the story, each script has a story. But then you tell the individual character stories, and you figure where they go, where they move. This is point A and this is point D, and how do they get there? And dramatize that.
After It's Too Good to Be True, Michael, just cross in and you follow with the rest of your speech.
This is what daytime drama does. Our audience follows their characters each day. So you've got to make sure you tell their story.
And you exit. So that's your last position in the scene.
Okay, I don't need it, okay.
No, yeah, thanks.
Dry rehearsals, usually it's only 7:15 to 8:15 because by 8:15 I'm anxious to get down to the floor. I'll go and I'll go through props and all that stuff and be ready to go by 8:30 on the dot. I know that we never start at 8:30 on the dot, but I need everyone to know that I'm there at 8:30 ready to go. And and I think that sends a message. Camera blocking to me is just purely making sure that everyone, all the camera people, all the audio people know what I want. And it's very clear, and I've got to be very clear and precise. I think you'll find on the day of production that I rarely am looking at the actors at that point. I have my eye glued to the monitor. I don't need to see the actors. I see what I want to see of the actors. I think that since our time is so compressed, I'm actually, when I'm looking at those monitors, I'm making sure that my cutting is working. I'm cutting in my head to make sure that everything's going to cut correctly.
And go with Barbara on 2. Carry all the way out as far as you. Oh, got it. Just let her out. Yeah.
On the 2 shot?
I only have one chance. We don't have a rehearsal, so I go from camera blocking into taping. So I'm just looking at those monitors, making sure each camera, I can cut each camera so that when I sit down in that chair, I'm sure that it will work.
Okay, let's tape.
Taping! Taping is next.
That's it for this cluster.
We are ready.
In clean tape, please roll and confirm speed. 2 on 3. You can slate it, Nance. This is just between 1 and 3.
Audrey.
All yours.
This is 611, Pro A, 1D, 2A.
Thank you. 1 is up, 3 is next.
Walk then talk. Just have Lynn just make a little bit of a move
One will
before
be
she
next.
speaks. Stand by.
Stand by.
Action.
Why am I not surprised of all the people that would contest the will? It would be Her Majesty.
I think acting background is critical to directing, at least in soap operas. It's like putting on a little play every day still. We have sometimes scenes that are 5-6 pages long. It's not like movies or other television scripts that are a page and a half. We tape a scene hopefully without stopping still, and it's very close to theater. It's the closest thing to theater that I think exists in terms of the television universe. So knowing how to speak to an actor is critical to me, because what we do is to try to get a good performance, no matter what we shoot, no matter how fancy we get. Ultimately, we're there to tell a story, and the actors are the storytellers. And if we can't get a good performance, no matter how well we shoot it, it will fail. So getting a performance, I think, is the #1 goal of any director.
What about that man who called?
I think Noelle's reaction's got to just be bigger. You know, when she gets that news, when she hangs up that phone, the finality of it's just really got to hit her more.
You were right. He's not coming home.
Ready? 1 will be next. Ready?
Oh, good.
Please stop. It's
That was
my
very
turn.
nice.
We're moving on.
The connections between scenes are important, of course, and you want to make the most dramatic connection. First of all, you follow the left to right rule. So if you have 2 cameras 1 and 3, and if you end a shot on camera 3, the next scene should begin on camera 1. It's basically a left to right rule, and that's essentially, in Western culture, it's the way we read. It's the way we look at things. We read from left to right.
3D, 5C. Here we go, guys. Nice quiet, please. We are taping.
Forget the shot on 2. Do you know what I'm saying? Give me a 3 shot.
my whole career, so when they like
3 shot on 2.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Don't change.
Forget 2. Beyond that sheer rule, you want something that has dramatic impact. And that has to do with how you size a shot at the end. Going from scene to scene, you don't go from close-up to close-up. That bothers me a little bit. Again, you create tension in your shot making by going from tight to wide. That creates tension in your shots if you sequence it correctly. And you continually try to create that tension, because the tension, the push-pull is what you call it in design, creates drama in your shot selection, in your sizing of your shots.
Oh, come on. She's in pain. She doesn't know what she's doing from one day to the next. She's just clinging to the possibility that somehow Holden survived the awful crash.
No matter what sort of design, and I can talk about left to right and all that sort of fancy stuff, but if you don't grab them emotionally, we're not doing our job.
Damien hasn't fooled me. It took him a long time to convince me that he's changed, but I believe him. And I think that you do too, otherwise you wouldn't have got involved with him.
You know what, believe what you want.
Yeah, play that out.
Believe what you want, please.
I freelanced on many, many shows, and I think that was very much to my benefit. I just wasn't stuck in one place and had to do the same thing in the same show. I learned from a whole variety of directors, and I think I saw every director who ever existed at that time. Leela Swift on Ryan's Hope was a terrific, I mean, she was a very idiosyncratic person, but she was a terrific 3-camera director. So I learned 2 cameras on Edge of Night, and then going to do 3 cameras and then 4 cameras. Leela Swift was very influential just in terms of what she was able to do on a little soundstage on Ryan's Hope with 3 cameras, and just her camera placement and movement was very unique to me at that time. So I learned a lot from her.
Taping's next.
Hey, look at you.
I remember one time, I think it was on Another World, the AD said, just look at the other monitor, that's where your answer is. And your answer is always on the other monitor. If you don't see it on one of the monitors, it's on the other monitor.
But that's not even the point.
You know what the point is, Luke? That your mother is not the only one he's playing for a fool.
Ready? Wasn't it clear?
Yes. Yep.
Thank you for holding for the bang bang. You good?
I didn't know if we were going to cut after
Spot
that.
check.
Thank you for, tell them thank you for taking that dramatic pause. It was clean.
Now let's make sure we make more noise.
Yeah, it's really noisy. What are they doing out there? They must be hungry.
Chris, for
Yeah.
time, do you want to start this maybe on line 18 with Nick saying your father saw Damien for exactly what he is?
Tapes are gonna put.
How long are we?
6 and change.
Well, it's sort of, don't you pick up on the thought that she said? I mean, she just said, you're fooled. Should we take the cut somewhere else? I mean,
As a director, I want a good producer. I want to know things that I miss. You know, I want to be told, oh, you know, you missed a moment there. I go, great, thanks for telling me. You know, we're not perfect.
It's your call. No, whatever you say. It's fine.
I mean, I got what she was saying once
Yeah,
Jack
I
said
know.
Holden, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it's just there's so many names.
Every director wants a good producer, wants a sharp producer, wants a producer who's well prepared, who's able to assist in ways that a director at that moment might not be able to be prepared to handle a particular moment or a situation, or not see something.
I get
That's
it.
all. But don't worry about it.
Please stop and spot check. We're
Moving on.
checking.
All right, let's work like moving on with this.
Let's move on to the afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, everybody. We have finished the morning.
There's not a lot that I haven't seen. There's not a lot that I don't know how to do at this point. So directing to me is technically pretty easy. The challenge is always to make a script come alive and to find an original point of view about a script and to really, make it come to life. And that's always going to be the challenge. That's always the same.
And Liz, you're just crossing along the sofa as if you've just been, as if you just entered, and while you're following Liz, go ahead.
There's no proof, but this man claims he has Holden.
The important thing for a director is pure stamina. You know, you're going from a day that, to me, starts very early, and I know we don't go that late in the day, but we do go very fast, and your information, sort of just processing information is at an incredibly high pace. We get no break whatsoever. So you're going nonstop for hours, and you're living in a dark room, in the control room. It's the old lesson, just breathe, eat, drink water, and a lot of coffee, and just stay sharp.
And at that point, you can kiss her hand. Beautiful. Great. Thank you, you guys.
What time are you back?
2:15. And we're starting right in Lily's house.
We're back in Studio 1. Stand by, guys, taping.
3 is up.
One more question.
Ready?
Why are you grilling him?
Ready?
I'm
1,
not.
2 is next.
He saved Luke's
1
life
is
today,
next,
maybe
2 went off
yours.
early.
He doesn't deserve to be interrogated.
My favorite part of directing is when a scene really works. You've done your shots right, you're really following the actors, you're cutting the show correctly, and a scene really just comes to life. I always say that if you have a few of those scenes, or one scene even, during the day that really just, oh, okay, I nailed it, it's a great day.
Okay, at that point, what we're gonna do is we're gonna stop, okay? And we're gonna get Jake in there, okay? So just be a little off camera, and I'll do your side, basically your face, and your hands shaking and succeeding in pushing Judy over,
Okay.
and Jake will catch you.
Biggest challenge of the day is the physical action with Holden knocking Maeve over in her chair and them sort of getting free of their shackles. Stuff that I've done before. I'm using the jib in that. Seeing how that looks is sort of interesting to me. It will take time. I think that's the most time-consuming thing.
Sort of like that. And so it's succeeding. You play that you've just succeeded in pushing that chair down, and you sort of try to get as close to her as you can.
Maeve, you okay? Maeve, can you hear me? You just blink, just nod, something, anything. Answer me, please.
And what you're going to have to do, sorry, Judy,
That's okay.
is sort of try to get this thing slid so that it slides off like so. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
All right, and Jake will help you with that. All right? So that comes off.
I found this.
It's a hatchet, okay?
It uses it to chop wood, but I don't know if it's gonna get through those chains.
All right, let's try it. Let's try it. And you take the thing from her, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to rig the clasp. Okay? So you take the hatchet, you whack it, it'll pop. You know, whack the
So like that, sort of
it'll pop like that. Just whack it. We try it. So that pops, the other one that pops, and you get out of the shackles. And I'm going to ad lib. You still are wearing the handcuff.
Right.
And just say, do me. Come on.
Do me.
Yeah.
Do me.
Do me.
With pleasure.
Do
You
me.
say, are you sure?
Are you sure?
And
Yeah.
she's going to whack the handcuff, okay? Okay? And you get the handcuff off of her. All right?
Okay.
And then you help, and then you guys, you sort of, that's off, and you help him up. You say, are you all right?
You all right?
Fine.
Let's just get out of
No,
here.
she says, thank
Oh,
you.
sorry.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Let's just get out of
And
here.
you start this way, and you get about halfway into the room, and John will stop you.
I promise you once we get to the hotel, I'll make sure you get everything you've ever wanted.
I know exactly, no. I know exactly what that is.
And you go into a kiss, and then Frank enters. Boom.
Oh, Ab, you're spoiling all the fun.
Missed your timing.
Oh, great. Yeah, it's your Home Alone 2 entry.
And this is just
Twigs
after I've been
standing
thrown
there.
off the cliff,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Sort of, she gets some bruises on him, et cetera, okay? Scrapes. All right, scrapes. And you guys cross out, let them go ahead of you, Frank. Okay. Okay.
Stop at White Castle in
You guys good? Good. All right, guys. You okay, Jake? Yeah. All right. Thanks. I'll see you on the floor. Have your fun.
If daytime is going to go the way of the dinosaur age, I mean, if we're going to become obsolete, we've recreated ourselves so many times in nighttime and in other ways. People have copied what we do, and the soap opera genre that was created in the 40s out of an economic time and how people sold their products, etc. Is different now. So it will exist, the kind of storytelling that we do. It may just not be in this form.
Hi, everyone.
What's that?
Okay, here we go. Stand by. Tight of the chair legs. Jake.
Yeah.
Get in here. Gonna tip over. John, you're gonna actually tip her over. Okay. Jake will catch her. You'll be right there, Jake. Watch your shadows. Great. So John, just even take hands on me. Yes. Okay. That hurts, doesn't it? All right. Okay. So Greg, her head's gonna come into frame here. Okay. All right. And guys, John, can you reach from there? Can you reach her legs? Yep. Great. Okay. So stay where you were, John. Okay. So Judy's head's just going to come into frame, and Bobby, what you're doing is you're starting. Excuse me.
Absolutely.
You're going to start low on John here, and you're going to come across her low. It's a low shot. Okay. So we first let Judy into frame, and we stop. Okay. So that happens. She goes into frame, and then on 4 we cue John and go, John.
Maeve? Maeve, you okay?
And yeah, try to get close to her.
Maeve, hey, just blink,
come
just
across her.
nod, anything. Maeve, answer me.
Great. Okay. That's the end of that scene. Okay, Bobby. Good. Next scene.
Next one.
Yeah, we don't have to do that now. Yeah, well, yeah, try. Let's see if we do it. Yeah, you'll go.
That's fine.
You'll whack. Okay, you ready, Judy?
Yep.
Barb, you're bringing in Judy single, then 2 goes to a 2-shot on her kneel. Just and cue Judy.
I thought I'm gonna say it chops wood.
We're good, 2. Yeah, you'll just let her out as she kneels, okay, Barb?
Yeah.
Try it.
Okay.
Okay. We need the real one.
There we go.
Good. Now let's see what you can do about this. You know, actually try to do this. Okay, John? Yeah, exactly. And go. Zoom into those chins.
Ah, sweet.
You gotta act it, John.
I didn't take them off that easy. All right.
Yeah, zoom into that, Greg. Yeah. And,
The
you,
whacking glass.
and that comes off. Great.
You did
And now
it.
tilt back up.
Do me.
Love it. See that?
There's no time.
I get once
Three
we get back
gets
to OPL,
holding.
I want to make sure that you get everything that you
One
need.
to take
Stay in
two.
there?
No, that's fine. If I just get a little, just know what you need to do is get a little further, and Greg come in, just in the middle.
Okay.
So, in other words, you get that far, and you say, "And I promise." I'll do two now on flash. And you kiss. Let me just see that. And we cue Eb. Kiss the other way, so your head's downstage, Judy. Good.
Two's
And
gonna-
pan over to Eb.
Oh, hey, Al.
And Eb, yeah, the door should be closed.
Okay.
Okay. So when you enter, Judy, make sure you close the door. I'll remind you.
Okay.
So the door flies open in the kiss. You hear the door open. And you pan over on 2, good. And we end on 3. Okay. All right, so let's grab the bottom. All right, thanks.
Bobby, what's optimistic?
Yeah.
And should be dirty, fellas.
Yes.
Dirty.
And then after Maeve, after line 4, Maeve says that we stop, okay?
3A, 3G, 4D, and 5D.
Stand
Here we
by.
go. Nice quiet, guys. Stand by.
Action.
Action.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm getting us out of here.
31,
Okay. I'm going to try and knock you over.
Why would you do that?
Once you're on the floor, I'm going to untie your feet. And then I'll try and slip the handcuffs off the chair.
That's not gonna work.
Do you have any better ideas?
No. No.
Okay, you're going to need to brace yourself because you're probably going to hit the floor pretty hard.
I figured that.
Ready?
I guess so. Come on.
We have a boom shadow? Yeah, we had a boom shadow on the back wall.
Shadow the back wall on the shot, Tim.
Top. Action.
Action.
What are you doing?
Getting us out of here. Okay.
Ready.
I'm going to try to knock you over.
Why would you do that?
Once you're on the floor, I'm going to untie your feet, and then I'm going to slip the handcuffs off the chair.
That's not gonna work.
Do you have any better ideas?
No.
Ready.
You're going to need to brace yourself. You're probably going to hit the floor pretty hard.
I figured that.
Okay, ready?
Ready.
I guess so.
Cut. Okay, get in position. Just 3 and 2 now. I'm not going to cut this.
Oh, 4 and 2. Right?
4 and 2.
Bye, guys. Quiet. Stand
Stand
by.
Action.
Action.
You're just coming back and forth. You okay? Okay, get close to the Maeve now.
just
So
between-
you're going
Yep,
back and forth,
yep.
you're opening that all up,
Yep.
okay? Stand by, same thing.
Same
This
thing
is
now.
just on camera 1.
Stay with the camera angle.
Stand by.
Stand by. And action.
No. This is one more. I see cut.
Okay.
Cut. I see Jake. Stand by. Stand by. Hold on. This is the beginning of it. So John, this is, you haven't started it yet, okay? You're doing it from the very beginning of it. Stand by.
For a different camera.
Okay.
Stand by.
Action.
Action.
Cut. Cut. I see Jake's hand.
Stand by.
Action.
Action.
You all right? Okay.
Okay. Up there.
One more time. Same thing.
One thing. One more.
Can we get her a little further? Great.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
This is just her falling to frame on the floor. This is just you okay?
On the floor.
This is just one shot and we'll stop. It's on you, Greg.
Is she out of frame now?
Pan down, Greg. Yes, she's out of frame now. Have her come up a little bit. Good.
Stand by.
Have Jake move his foot.
And Jake, move your left foot
Right.
back a smidge and bye.
Action.
Action.
Great. Cut. Continuing now.
Maybe you okay?
Ready?
Do you want to be more out of breath?
Hey.
Cut.
Once again. More of it.
Okay.
Both of them.
Both of you guys. And
Hold on a second. And Judy, just a little movement on that leg as if you've just fallen. On your right leg. Yeah, stand by. Yeah, exactly. Stand by. Action.
action.
Maeve? Maeve, are you okay?
Zoom.
Ready, 2.
Maeve? Maeve, just blink, just nod.
Ready, 4. 2 is next.
Maeve!
It's not brain surgery that we're doing, and no one's going to live or die by what we do. So we just have to really keep that in perspective and do the best we can, but really keep a perspective on what we do and not for all of the tension that we sometimes may feel internally, to try to keep a cap on that and to do the best work we can.
Are you okay?
My head's still throbbing.
Ready, 1. 4 is next. Ready,
Let's
4. Ready, 4.
get out of here.
1 is next to
Get
the
you
cross
checked out.
right. Ready, 1.
I'll
You'll
go
go with
for
her.
it.
4 is
No, I
next.
can't just leave you here.
Ready,
What if Em shows up?
ready, 1.
It's gonna kill me.
We gotta find somebody to take you out of the
Ready,
chains.
4.
It has to be you.
Ready, 1.
How?
I don't know, but you can't just leave
1
me
is
here
next.
like
You'll
this.
pan her and then let her out. 4 is
Let me
next
see
on
what I
her
can
shoulder.
find.
Ready.
Keeping the day going, being on schedule, all those time-oriented things that we have to do to just stay in business. But to me, it's just you go for what you imagine, and then you're setting yourself up to be pleasantly surprised.
Stand by.
Aye.
Action.
Action.
I found this. It uses it to chop wood. I just don't know if it's gonna go through the chains. Try it.
Okay, I'll try it.
Ready, 1. 2
You
is
can do
next.
it.
Ready.
Ready,
Again.
Ready.
Again. Come on.
Ready, 2. 1 will be
Fuck! Missed it. Sorry, Chris.
Zoom.
I'll try.
That's all I could find.
Ready, 1. 1.
Careful. Oh. Again.
2 will
It
be
worked.
next.
Come on. Oh, shit.
Cut. Guys, we got to be on the same team here. Zoom.
I'll try.
That's all I could find.
Ready, 1. 1.
Careful. Oh. Again. Come on. Hard. It works. Do it.
I got it.
Do me too. I trust you. Just do it. Come on. Oh, you all right?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Come on. Let's just get out of here. Let's go. Come on.
Once we get out of here, once we get back to the hotel, I want to make sure that you get everything that you ever wanted.
I know exactly what that is.
Ready, 3. Ready,
2.
2.
And back to
And
3.
squeeze on 3 a little bit.
And we're out.
Tapes are good. That's a good night.
Michael, let me do
Tapes
you-
are good.
you're
That's
in
a good
tomorrow,
night.
too.
Thank you, Bill. That's a good night.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I think it's a shared responsibility. Everyone has to pitch in, from the stage managers to the people alongside me. All have to be on the same page. We all have to work in concert as a team. So again, when we're working in concert as a team and everything's going great and we're doing things in one take, yeah, it's great. It's like you're riding a great train.
What is it, like 1 o'clock?
Lucky sometimes.
It's been a great run. I've done other things, but by and large, it's been fascinating. It's gone in the blink of an eye. So maybe that's it. Just as a young director, I know that how ambitious you are at a young age, and if you were to have asked me in my 20s or 30s, what would I be doing daytime at my age? You've got to be kidding me. That said, I feel good about what I've done and accomplished, and the experiences and the relationships that I've had. It's been very fulfilling.
Guys.
It's okay. I saw what was going on.
See? I did. We did. Don't worry, we're gonna have more time.
Where's the doctor?
I just came across.
Very, very cool. 5-0.